Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome if you're new. I'm Stacy, and today we are going to be doing another circle with doodling on top. We are going to draw plants and mushrooms. I guess mushrooms are a plant, right? Yeah, of course. Silly. But yeah, I used my stencil and spaced out my circles pretty evenly. And now I'm just wetting them in, and you're not going to see the pencil marks by the time we're done with this at all. I'm wetting each circle pretty liberally, like it's puddly, because I want the gouache, which is what I have in the palette. It's Arteza gouache. It's sienna. I gotta look again. Yeah, burnt sienna and kind of a yellow ochre color, and then taupe in the set that I have. These are just Arteza gouache. Any gouache will do in colors that you like if you want to try this exercise. But if you want to get that blendy blend, I recommend heavy water and a nice thick application of paint. And let it kind of swoosh around. But you need a lot of water to get the kind of swooshy effect you would get with watercolor. You can also kind of drop more water in and like smash it about. I'm not going for specific shapes. I'm just throwing color around at this point and letting it blend around and bleed about. This is that taupe, and it's kind of pearlescent feeling to me. It doesn't say it's pearlescent, but it does feel that way. Yeah, and I'm just dropping that in all of the pieces here and there, all willy-nilly. And there was a piece of something in my gouache, so I rubbed it on the table. I don't remember doing that. Rinse that brush out really good. And those are my little cups from the dollar store that I have. I made a mess there, so I wet it to scrub it up a little bit. And then I'm going to hit this with the heat tool just to get it dry fast so that I can get to my doodling quicker. My circles are not terribly perfect, and that is okay. I decided that it was a little too puddly, so I'm picking up with the rag. I have paint rags now, and that I got from the dollar store, like $5 for a set at the dollar store. I keep saying the dollar store. Everything's $1.50 now at the dollar store, or more, between $1.50 and $5. So it's $1 plus now, I guess. But the company name is still dollar store. So yeah. Just blasting it with the heat tool to so it's nice and dry. So when I'm using my brush pens over the top, it flows pretty smooth. Yeah, and you want it nice and dry. Takes a few minutes because I put a lot of water down, and I honestly didn't think to edit this part out. So there we go. And then pat, pat, pat. It's dry enough. And if you see my hands disappear, Astrid's talking to me. She's my granddaughter, and I'm babysitting. So yeah, just so you know. So here we are. I'm going to jump in, and we're going to do a mushroom. And I didn't get reference photos together. I didn't choose a theme. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants and playing and experimenting here. And that is the best way to create art sometimes, is to not have to worry about a plan. To just jump in with your supplies and create like any kid would. And mushrooms there are so many shapes and sizes and variants of mushrooms. You can pretty much draw them any way you want. It's your world. Do what you want. So that's what I'm doing. And in my head, I'm thinking one of those red cap mushrooms, with the big white bumpies on them. I don't know what the formal terminology is, and I probably won't ever know because I'm not concerned at this particular point in my life about that. And I decided to pop in a second one over here, a littler one back behind. So I'm noodling that in right now. Sorry, my hand's in the way. You can't see the tip of the pen when I'm doing. I tend to forget that part. And I'm down to one camera now, so those fabulous side shots are not going to happen anytime soon. I don't want to buy another camera. This I'm filming on my phone, my brand new phone. Well, it's brand new as of about a year ago. Then we're putting in some grassy bits. Swoosh, swoosh, swooshing, and then using the side of the pen to get that those bold shadows on the bottom to kind of ground the little piece in its circle. And then this one, I don't really see anything in particular. I'm just doing squiggles to start, and then here we go with leaves. Not any kind of leaf. There's just I like plants, and here's a leafy shape. Kind of fold over and droopy, and not too many. Oh, I think I need a nap. I keep yawning. Just some swoopy lines. If you want to do this, you can pick a theme. You can theme it out if you want to. You can decide to do all flowers or all eyeballs or treetops or, I don't know, your kids' toys. Or it's autumn, maybe for us here in the States anyways. It's autumn. Maybe pumpkins. Maybe pumpkin theme this, especially if you chose these kinds of colors. You could do something spooky. You could go with like all bats, or do the whole ghosts, bats, traditional Halloween-y things. But for me, I'm doing whatever I feel like, because I wasn't really considering the season. I was just playing with my art supplies. In this bottom one, I see flowers, so I'm noodling in some pretend flowers. Nothing specific. They're definitely inspired by irises, because that's what's in my brain as I'm noodling this. I really like irises for some reason. It's a recent revelation. Is it a revelation? Maybe it's not a revelation, but you get me. But yeah, they're definitely in my head as I'm drawing these flowers out. And I go ahead and give them nice thick stalks, once again, to offer a little bit of contrast and grounding within the circle of the drawing, right? It's in its little world. And then make that petal there dark because it's back behind. It got tucked back behind, and then, yeah, that's pretty much it on that one. They went pretty quick. I think I worked on this for about an hour and 10 minutes-ish. And time-lapsed it down to 24 minutes, which isn't too terrible. And I didn't cut anything out of this one. It's just time-lapsed down so that, because it does take time to draw, to doodle, to noodle around. And I tend to get lost in details and go slow and, take my time and just enjoy the process. So I speed them up for you guys because you'd be bored probably, especially if I'm not talking through it as I'm working. If I'm not talking through it as I'm working, then I tend to time-lapse the video so that it's not boring. But in the moment, if it turns into an hour and 10-minute video and I'm just playing with color and noodling about, then it is what it is. And these ones are kind of reminding me of poppies, those floppy, thin, gauzy poppy leaves. Leaves, petals, Jiminy Christmas. You know what I mean. And again with some stalks, because, flowers can't float, right? Not to my knowledge anyway. How weird would that world be? The flowers don't grow in the land, they float in the sky. This one, I'm just scribbling around the shapes that are already there, and I immediately see another mushroom. Different one this time. It's kind of bold and big and leaning off to the side. And I'm just having fun with mark making and just sketching about. I'm using the tip of the pen to make those little under the mushroom fins. They look like fins to me. And then a little bit of contrast back there, and then I decide I want some texture on the stock, so I just use the pen and smush it down. I smush the tip of it down to make big dots. And again, I'm sorry you can't see the tip of the pen as I did that. These things happen. And this one I just want to do squiggle lines and many little tiny petals. Little grouped petals, kind of like if it's under the water, that kind of feeling, that tall, weightless, swooshy feeling. And then I go and put berries on it at the end, so I don't know what I'm thinking. But for me, this is the fun part. It's super... Whew, goodness gracious. It's super relaxing, as you can tell. I'm very relaxed right now. To me, to doodle over color. It's one of my favorite things to do, is just put down a background and then draw something either bold on top of it or pull something out of it, what's there. One of my favorite pieces that I've done that way is a deer. I'd have to dig out my art that's all put away right now, because I live in a very, very small space. And I'd show it to you, but it's put away. But it was one of my favorite pieces. I used ink on tiles that I got in an art box, like just art tiles. And the ink that came in the art box, and I did a bunch of backgrounds. And then when I was all done, I put the backgrounds in a box next to me by my chair. And when I was watching TV, I drew a deer and colored it in with my Neocolor 2s. And I used them like pastels because they blend really nicely. So I got all the pictures drawn, and now I'm like, okay, what am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? How am I going to make these more boldly framed? I want them to have each one to have a little frame around them. So I'm going in with my circle stencil so that it's about the same distance around the outside edge. And I'm just doing wonky broken line circles. Purposefully. I like the feel of it. I'm not looking for anything in particular, but a feeling of finished and framed in for each one is the thought pattern in like the background of my brain. And I like that. And now I'm like, all right, well, I got that done. I really feel like each one needs a little detailing. And for the very first one, I go a little over the top. Which kind of feeds into how the rest of them evolve into getting their different borders on. Each one has a different border. So this one I'm doing little tiny swoopy teardroppy kind of shapes all the way around with little bundles of teardrop shapes at different segments, not evenly spaced at all, just kind of willy-nilly, because it's what feels right. Now the lawnmower's out there. The kids are screaming. The sun is up. It's a beautiful day out today. Very crispity though. And they're mowing the lawn again. Oh, there's another yawn. Dun, 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 dun. She who yawns a lot. I don't know where that came from. There we go. All framed in. That didn't take too long. And this one, I'm like, all right, we can't take that long for each one of these. So I'm using the side of the pen and doing little swooshies. And to get the same swooshy mark, I'm turning the page. Spin it around. And then I don't care for that. Once it's done, I'm like, that's too bold, and I don't really care for it. So I'm going to do a little bit of wiggly lines around the outside edge and just yeah, we're just going to leave that for now. Then we're going to go down here, and I decide to do some like more S-shape, more swirly S-shaped lines, kind of in and out, in and out. I really like this one. It feels right. I wish I'd done this on all of them. But now I know, right? Now I know what I like. And once again, in my brain, I'm like, these would make a really cool set of stickers. And a nice little art print for the wall. I really like the colors. So you guys let me know if you think that's a good idea or not. The sticker packs, I mean. Art print for the wall is hands down a great idea. In my brain. And I can do what I want, so yeah. But the stickers I'm not so sure about. Like a pack of them. A pack of like 2-inch, 2.5-inch. I prefer a 3-inch sticker, but that's just me. And this one, I feel like the broken lines feel like this is, the edges are folded over and kind of holding a globe or something within their folded over bits. And I'm really liking the feeling of the wiggly lined edges instead of the petals or those bold dark lines on the top ones. So again, over here, and then I do some little dots. And I'm like, I don't know if this is quite finished yet. What do I want to do? What do I want to do? All right, so we're going to take some white gouache, is what this is, left over from a previous painting. And I'm going to come in here and do some detailing. I don't have a gel pen that works right now, so otherwise I would use a gel pen. But, I mean, anything works. Acrylic paint, gouache, colored pencils if you want to do colored pencils on top. I just have gouache out and it works really well, so that's what I'm using. And make the little white spots on the mushrooms more prominent and definitely detail those out. Little sweeps of white here and there. And I'm going to go through... Oh my goodness gracious. The yawning. I didn't like how much white I put on the stalks of the mushrooms, so I'm going in with this little mixture and shadowing those out a bit. It didn't feel right. Gotta fix that. It's not quite the right color, but it's fine. It's totally fine. And then I want to balance it out, so I'm putting a little bit over here on this mushroom to pull that color into more than one spot on the piece. If you put color somewhere on your piece, unless you're specifically wanting to draw the eye to that one spot, it's a good idea to put the same color elsewhere in your piece, at least 2 more times. You know that 3 is always pleasing to the eye. Even numbers to the eye tend to throw people off, but a couple of places. I'm using it for shadowing. Thinned out, and then moving on, more white. And I want these to stand right out. I want them to stand right out from the background. So I'm going to blob in. I'm not being particular. I'm just blobbing. Blobbing within the drawn shape because it is thin enough that it will dry and some of it will be translucent. Just boop, 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 boop. And that's what I'm thinking in my head. Boop, 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 boop. A little bit there. Yep. Did that. Good, good. There. And I like how that looks. I like it. It's not terrible. And all the little berries that I drew in, I'm just grabbing red and plopping that color in. And I put the red in 2 of the other pieces 3 of the other pieces as well, so it does carry throughout as well, which is super nice. Just a little bit on around the edges, those berries there. And then in my brain, it's like, okay, I've got red here, so now I need to put it elsewhere. Where am I going to put it? Going in with more white. And I do bounce back and forth quite a lot, most of the time when I'm creating. I'll grab the white and delineate these leaves, which kind of end up looking like weird flowers to me. Because they're not green, that's why. And then I want the stems to stand out, so I'm putting a little line next to them for that contrast. I like that. Then we're going to jump down to... Oh yeah, I go over and I'm putting some bold color on all these little folds to incorporate them a little better. After the fact, because I don't like how that's the only one without extra lines around it. Off camera, I do end up putting some squiggly lines around that one that I just finished. The middle right hand one. Then we're going to dot in some red here. Boop, 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 boop really fast. We're almost done. This is just finishing touches. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below of this kind of piece. I really enjoy making them, like a lot. Kind of gives you a chance to noodle about with sketches and play with color and textures and incorporate your different supplies all into one piece, all willy-nilly, which I find to be incredibly enjoyable. A little bit of this bright, because I feel like my flower petals need to stand out a bit more, just a little more pop. So I'm going to pop that in here and there, super fast. You remember, this is time-lapsed. I don't really draw and paint this fast. This whole piece took me about an hour and 10 minutes. And then I'm just going to drop in a little bit of that red, really light, around the outside edge of this one. And I'm working on a block. This particular one is a Hanamula. I think that's how you say that. 140-pound cold press block that I got in one of my Palettefull Packs boxes. They kind of float around. They actually live on the top shelf of my desk right now because I want to use them up. I forget I have them because I like to work on my sheets of paper. Put some red dots on the little mushrooms for like shadowing, a little bit of shading, a little bit of pop color. And we're almost there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. Little close up, I think. Maybe? No. Nah. Oh, there's a couple little spots that I'm putting the white on because I don't like the messiness. So we'll clean that up a little bit. And it does dry matte and flat, so it's a good way to hide mistakes. Alrighty guys, little close-ups of each one, super fast, and thank you so much for being here. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.